You are listening to the Techie Leadership Show with Bogdan and Andrei.
Hello and welcome to the Techie Leadership Show. Today with me I have Arthur Carmazzi. He is ranked in the top 10 of the world's top 30 thought leaders in both leadership and organizational culture categories by global gurus and has over 25 years experience specializing in psychological approaches to leadership and corporate culture transformation. He is a renowned motivational leadership keynote speaker and trainer in the Asian region and has advanced corporate trainings with innovative techniques and tools that have been acknowledged by some of the world's greatest organizations. And Arthur is also the best-selling co-author of The 6 Dimensions of Top Achievers and author of Identity Intelligence, The Psychology of Selecting the Right Employee, and Lessons from the Monkey King. Hi, Arthur, and welcome to the show.
Hey, Andrei, great to be here.
It is a pleasure to have you here, and I like your attitude. Really amazing.
Wow.
Do you want to add anything about yourself?
About myself? Wow, there's a lot of things about myself. What about me do you want to know specifically?
Whatever you think would be relevant, and you can brag a little about yourself in this part.
Well, I'll give you a little bit of an idea of how I got to be here. Okay, so first of all, I was born in a very small town in Carson City, Nevada, in America, and there was 10,000 people and 20,000 cows. Okay, and as I kind of expanded, I got this job in Korea, and in Korea, I was the managing director of this consulting company, and we used to, do franchise. We used to create franchises for all these other organizations, and I was really good at that. And, I was so good at it, I thought, man, why am I working for these guys? I am so awesome. I'm just going to go and start my own business. So I quit my job and I took all of my money and I started my own business. And a year and a half later, not only was I broke, but I was $500,000 in debt.
No.
Which really sucked. I do not recommend this at all.
For sure.
Yeah. So I needed to get a job. So I got this job, and you know how when you get a job, you're really excited. So I was like, wow, I was like really excited. I could see, like next year was going to happen and 5 years into the future. And I could really see I was excited and passionate about this job. And then about like 3 weeks later, I started noticing that all these people, they're blaming everybody, and they're blaming the finance department and the HR department, and everybody's like, oh my gosh, what's wrong with these people? But I thought, no worries, man. I can do good things here. And so I'd come up with some really good ideas. Have you ever had good ideas, Andrei?
Yes, I had.
Yeah, okay. And so I had these good ideas, and I went and I shared them with the other department heads. And I said, hey, look, if we work together and, these are the things we can do for, the company and the greater vision. And they said, look, we understand you're new here, but don't, look, you do your thing and we'll do our thing. And I'm like, oh man, like people are not cooperating, but I thought, no problem. I'll be able to do great things. 4.5 months later, you know what happened?
What?
I started blaming people as like, oh, the finance guys did that, the HR guys. And then people would come up to me and ask me for help. I'd say, look, you do your thing, I'll do my thing. And I got sucked in to this culture. And, it affected my desire. I literally just felt stuck. I felt stuck, that where I'm in a situation where I feel like I know I can do more. I knew I had better ideas. I knew I had more potential, but I felt like I couldn't really do it in this environment. And so, one day I ended up creating or looking into the mirror, and I looked at myself and I said, man, you suck. I literally had become an underperformer. And I became one of the people that I used to make fun of. And I thought, wow, okay. So I decided I was going to go and talk to those bad people, the other department heads and the people that were making my life difficult. And I found out something very unexpected. I found out that they were actual real human beings. And
Whoa.
yeah, I
Unexpected.
mean, tell me about it, right? And that they actually had real standards, and that they also got sucked into the culture. So I'm
Yes.
thinking, wow, it's so it's not really the people, it's the culture that is affecting the people. And so I thought, okay, so there's something bigger here. So that's when I started, because as an underachiever, I wasn't really doing 100% of my effort into my job, right? So I was,
Yes.
I had all this extra time. I thought, okay, hey, I could justify it because, hey, if I solve this problem, I'll be able to help the company. But in reality, I just wanted to fix myself and my problem, right?
Yes.
So I started doing research on why this was happening. And so eventually this research, I started to apply it in the organization. And so within like my department and 2 other departments, we ended up saving the company $17,000 a week in wastage.
Whoa.
And so after that, I started writing articles, and then I got on the radio, and then I got on TV, and and then from there I was able to quit my job, But the thing is that it was that journey was not a pleasant one, but it was one that really helped me to kind of know more about myself and identify the kind of person that I really wanted to be, and for that matter, even found my purpose, my direction in life, which I now travel around the world, and we have over 530 licensed directive communication psychology trainers and consultants in 19 different countries. And
Nice.
so all of that, came from that experience. The directive communication psychology framework started there.
So basically you took a lump of coal and turned it into a diamond.
There you go. Same like COVID-19, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I think your story, it's a relatable one, because lots of people have great ideas. They go into organizations with great motivation. They want to do amazing things. They get pitched during the job that we're bringing you in to do amazing work, to change, to shape everything, to streamline it. And then you get sucked into the culture and nothing changes. And it's common. It happened to me. And it's hard. It's like fighting a whole a stone wall or something like that. It's really hard to get it moving.
It is.
And
it's the expectations you have of your ability to achieve are dampened by the politics of everybody else wanting to show that they're better, and then also the different management and all these different types of things that reduce and kill trust in the organization, and for that matter even make you not live up to your own potential.
Exactly. And it's something that I feel it's also ingrained in some way, and you having like a psychology background might know more about it. Is people, they say they want change, but actually they fight it in sneak attacks to avoid change.
Well, I have a theory on that.
Okay, go.
Okay. See, I don't believe that people resist change.
Okay.
I believe that people resist what they believe to be stupid stuff.
Ah.
Okay, now think about it. Somebody comes to your door and says, "Hey, Andrei, I have a suitcase with $10 million in it so that you can change your life." You're not going to go, yeah, no, that's, don't want it,
I'm not going to
man.
take it. I'm for sure going to take it.
So it's not the change that they resist. It is what they feel is too much extra work, or something stupid, or something silly, or whatever. It's the same reason why, for example, when you say, "Hey, darling," to your wife, let's go out dancing. And she says, oh, you don't know what I'm doing. I've my, whole day has been here. I just want to relax. And,
Yes.
so stay in the comfort zone, right? But then you force her to go out and she says, oh my gosh, that was such a great time. I'm so glad you took me out. Right? So once you get past that lazy element, okay, or oh, I don't want to hassle, or I don't want to, it's too much work or whatever, then great things can happen.
For sure. And it's about just talking with you now. I realize it's how can you make your ideas or your improvements be easy and create like a slippery slope for everybody. So once it starts, don't go with the big bang. Start with a small bang and build on it.
There you go.
Okay, Arthur, I'm really curious about your stories now. So let's take it from the top. What is the biggest leadership success story you witnessed personally?
Wow, biggest leadership success story. Honestly, I would have to probably say it's my own personal success story, because I used to suck as a leader. I mean, I totally suck. I alienated everybody because I had no idea what I was doing. And through that absolute failure meltdown of leadership ability was where I was able to eventually figure out why I was such an asshole, and why people didn't really respond or respect or do the things that I wanted to do. And so having that element of great personal failure as a leader was what has helped me to really define and help people not see my theories on leadership are not like, oh, if you do this and you do this and you do this, you'll be a great leader, because that doesn't work. Everybody's got they're different. Everybody's different.
Yes.
So there's not really a leadership model that everybody can do, right? Because, you've been to training, right? You go to this training and say, oh yeah, you do this as a leader, you do this as a leader, you do this as a leader. And then people go and first of all, they seem inauthentic.
Yes.
Okay. And second of all, eventually it doesn't work because they're inauthentic, and it's also difficult to be somebody you're not.
Yes.
So by understanding who you are, how you get clarity, your primary motivators, and taking all of who you are and then matching it to, here's the culture that you're in. Because the same thing, okay, let's just say, for example, the CEO of Google, if you took him and put him into Citibank as the CEO, he would probably fail.
Probably, yes.
Right? And vice
culture.
versa. Okay, why? Because the cultures are totally different. And so you can be a great leader in one culture, but maybe suck as a leader in another culture. And these are where, I find that people, once they're given an opportunity, can really understand who they are, where they operate, and then build their leadership from there, rather than, I try to do this. That's what I was trying to do. And this is why I failed so miserably. I was like reading all this stuff. Oh, I should do this. I should do this. And it's like, and then it was all conflicting, right? And then I would try something and it didn't work because, it's too soft. So then I try the hard way, and that exploded too. So I'd have all these like different things and totally alienated everybody.
Well, yeah. But having like flexibility, does that help to be able
absolutely.
to be
Absolutely. The flexibility is absolutely essential. I mean, the thing is that, first of all, I'll just give you some ideas. We did a culture change program for Emirates Hotels. All right. So we do these culture change programs for all these companies. We even guarantee results, right? I mean, we're the only company that actually says, if it doesn't work, you don't have to pay. So,
nice.
So anyway, we did this culture change, and one of the things was they have this rule, right, for the housekeeping, not to let people into a room because it could be somebody saying that it's their room or whatever, right?
Yes.
So that's a rule. That is a SOP. Now, here is the other element. Of course, you have to be doing outstanding customer service. Now, let's say, for example, so in this particular case, the housekeeping knew, okay, and this was actually a personal experience. The
Yes.
housekeeping knew the room that I was staying in my room, but she followed the SOP. No, I can't let you in because, you know, that's the SOP. But you know, it's my room, I said. And she says, yeah, but that's not the SOP. So creating that element of flexibility, regardless of the rules, based on, you know, situations that are going to help you to be relevant. See, it's not about, the rule is not the result. The rules are there to support the results. But what really, what ends up happening is that a lot of people end up focusing on the rules or the SOPs or the structure or whatever instead of the results. And by having that ability to be flexible, you know, somebody's got a situation, you know, somebody, I mean, you know, one of the other things that we do is we build trust in organizations, and
Yes.
this is the biggest problem that we find. So we have there's a tool that we use called the OCEAN tool, Organizational Culture Evolution Assessment Navigator, right? So what it does is basically it benchmarks your organizational culture, and it turns out more than 60% of the organizations who we work with, and you know, and they go through this
Yes.
assessment, more than 60% are at the lowest level of organizational culture evolution. They're at the blame
No.
culture. Basically has lowest trust. People don't really trust, you know, they have this, you know, like they basically have to wait for people to tell them
Yes.
what to do because they don't want to get blamed. They don't want to get, you know, they don't want to create waves. There's not really much innovation because, you know, if something goes wrong, well, you know, they will suffer, even if it's
Exactly.
just emotion.
And that's just not a good environment and culture to have. And
It's not, but
yeah.
it's more common than than we thought.
Unfortunately, yes. But Arthur, going back to your story, I'm curious, how did you make the transition? Like you were struggling as a leader, and then you became really good at it. Like, what are some tips that you would like to share about
Okay.
it?
Tip number 1, don't be an asshole.
Sounds easy. Sounds easy.
I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, that was, you know, I used to think that you know, that I was just like God's gift to everybody. And, you know, I'm a reasonably smart person. And that was one of my biggest downfalls.
Oh.
Because see, the thing is that I like to study, I like to learn things, I like to know how things work, right? But what that meant was that because I know a lot of different stuff, I started micromanaging people. Hey, why don't you do it this way or do it this way? Or, you know, why don't you do it that way? Instead of asking questions. So what would be, you know, what, you know, so this is how would you do it? Oh, okay. So what if you did this? Or what if you did that? I mean, just taking you know, the same concept, you know, helping
Yes.
people to be successful, but rather than you imposing on others, to simply ask questions. See, there was a story that I heard, and I can't remember the story, but there was the question at the end of the story is what I do remember. Okay, and here is the question. Okay, would you rather, okay, be the person who is the smartest person in the room, or would you rather be the person who makes everybody in the room feel like they're the smartest people in the room?
No, I want to be the person that makes everybody feel the smartest in the room.
And that's the better leader. See, that's the thing. See, I always, when I first started my leadership journey, I wanted to be the smartest guy in the room. I have this big ego, and it's like, look at me, I'm so awesome, and you know, and that just doesn't work because other human beings have egos too.
Exactly. And it gets,
and they want to succeed, and they want to feel valuable. And if the more that you impose on them, the less valuable they feel. They feel like, oh my gosh, you can train a monkey to do this. Why do you need me?
Yeah, and I find that if you try to give people the answer directly and say like, this is what you should do, they kind of resisted because they didn't get their input, they don't trust it or anything. But if you ask smart questions and you lead them around the way, and they get the same answer that you knew that's the answer, it's way better. It's like a revelation for them, and it gets them engaged, and they actually do it because it's my answer now.
Well, it is, but there's another part of that also.
Oh yeah.
There is actually. See, the here's the thing. Okay, have you heard of the brain's ambiguity relief process?
No, it's new to me.
So the brain's ambiguity relief process is basically, it's the genetic process that your brain gets clarity. Okay. So
how does it work?
It doesn't change. It's a genetic process. Okay. Now, just so that for those people that are like science geeks and stuff out there, let me just kind of give you a little bit of an idea. First of all, there's this thing called neuroplasticity. All right, neuroplasticity. Now, neuroplasticity basically says that if you practice something, or if you do something over and over again, you can change your habit, you can change your attitude, you can even change your mood. Yes. Right? Okay, that's true. Now, that changes because of the connections that you are essentially strengthening, right? Now, ambiguity relief is technically not in your brain. It's the length of the genes that you have that regulate neurotransmitters that make those connections. Okay, so enough for the geeky stuff.
Okay.
Okay, but here's the thing. Okay, because you have this genetic process of getting information, that means that your process of connecting it all is different. So, for example, if my way of doing something, okay, my process, okay, this is based on the colored brain model. So if you look at coloredbrain.com, you can get a whole bunch of information, and there's a whole bunch of videos there. And so colored brain is basically the identifies and measures the brain's ambiguity relief process. So in my case, I'm green-brained, or what is called chaotic processing. All right. Okay. Now, chaotic processing means that like nothing is connected. So my way of doing things, in order for me to get clarity, I have to take action.
Okay.
Okay, so as I'm taking action, and taking that action can also be in like asking you questions. Hey, Andre, what do you think about this? Or, what do you think about this? And so because of, of that action-oriented element, I will kind of shape and reshape things as I move forward. And because of that, sometimes people think I'm always changing my mind, and, and I don't think I'm changing my mind.
You're just working stuff out.
Right, that's right. That's my process, right? So that's my way of achieving things. Now, somebody else, for example, may have what is called relational processing. So relational processing, everything is connected, and it's connected through data. Okay, so the more information they have, okay, the more details. They don't analyze the information, okay? They just get the information. They see, I need details, and then it's kind of like this whole wall of TVs is lighting up as they get every little detail, and suddenly they can see multiple options, and then they basically look and see which option is better and make a decision in that way. Now, okay, see me, for example, chaotic processing, taking immediate action is essential for me to get clarity.
Yeah.
Somebody that's what's called purple brain, or relational processing, they need tons and tons and tons of information. So for them, it takes a really long time to start moving, right?
Yes.
So then you get like the green guy over here, is like, come on, let's go. And the other guy's like, oh my gosh, what are you doing? Where's the details? Yeah, I need this, I need this, I need this. And you're like, oh my gosh, why would you waste your time with that? And so you have this conflict, which also affects trust. And so you have all these problems that come about. And so even just, your way of approaching something is different. And by understanding a different way of approaching things, okay, and literally you can build more trust. I mean, for example, the thing is that me, for example, as a chaotic processor, and I meet somebody that's a linear process, or not a linear, with the relational processor. you know, if I am not aware of what's going on, I will judge them. And it's like, oh my gosh, what is wrong with these people? Why are they like this? And then I will treat them accordingly. And then of course they will feel how I treat them, and they will treat me
Yes.
accordingly because I'm different, which creates trust barriers.
Yes, I can see that. It makes sense. And do you recommend like to have to get some knowledge, or I find it that it helps to expect that people have different way of achieving the same goals, and being open to all kinds of of solutions and approaches. As long
Absolutely.
as you reach the goal, the desired goal, you don't care about how you get there. As long as you get there.
Well, again, I mean, but some people do care about it. See, that's the problem. Most people are
Ah,
focusing on the process instead of the objective. And this is where the barriers to good leadership come from,
yes.
where trust breaks down. And so, it's because somebody that has a lot of experience, okay, oh, well, this is obviously the right way to do it. Well, yeah, it's the right way for you,
For you, yes.
right? And there's also the other elements of motivation, right? There's certain things that, when you're more excited about something, you're generally going to be better at it, or at least learn how to be better at it. But if
Yes.
something makes you excited and you just kind of impose that on somebody else, well, it's not
It's
going to
not
have
gonna work.
the same effect, right?
Yes. And that's why I feel like as a leader, don't try to impose processes. Just let people give them ideas, help them out if they come and they require that. But let them work out the solution themselves. As long as you get the end result, that's what you're interested in. It's not like you want to clone yourself, like do it my way. No, let people do it their way. As long as they do it and you
Absolutely.
get the result. And
And getting the result on time is
yes,
important. So see that. So there's two sides. So for example, there's the colored brain, which we were talking about, but the other side is emotional drive. So this is why you do things. See, colored brain is not a personality thing. It's only one thing: your ambiguity relief process, how you get clarity. That's it. But that affects the type of action that you take, and of course that affects the relationship and the synergy that you have with other people. But once you understand it, it's like, instead of like, oh my gosh, why is this person like that? And you're going, I understand, this person's purple
ah.
brain. Or, oh, this person's green brain. And so it's like, hey, dude, okay, remember I'm green, man. Okay, so let's work this way. And so you have less conflict through the language that you develop through predefined communication.
Yeah, and it always helps, like to not look only inside towards yourself, also look outside and see what other people are doing, so you can also have a little
Absolutely.
flexibility. And Arthur, what is the biggest leadership failure you had the unfortunate experience of witnessing?
Well, that would be my own also.
Ah,
Like I said, I totally alienated everybody. I mean, that's and it's painful because you want to get things done. You want to try to people to do things, but at the end of the
yes.
day, I mean, you end up creating this horrible relationship and tension and everything else between you and everybody else, simply because you suck at leadership, which was my problem. That was that was where I kind of ended up thinking I've got to fix some of this stuff.
And based on all your experience from going from failure as a leader to being like successful as a leader, what would be now your leadership philosophy?
Well, the leadership philosophy is the leadership anti-model, which again, helps
Anti-model,
people
okay.
understand who they are, why they want to do things, how they get clarity, and basically help them to really find out the person that they want to become, essentially their core identity, and then take that and help them to understand how who they are at their best. I mean, notice that, in some environments you are really great, and in others you're not so good, right? So,
Yes.
so, so the idea is like, sometimes you get under pressure and suddenly you're working really well. While in other situations, maybe you might not be very excited, or in some cases you may be angry in some environments. I mean, it's, like when you go out with your friends, your behavior is different than when you're with your family, and your behavior is different
Yes.
when you work, and different with a different group of friends. Okay, you're not purposely doing that, but the environment literally brings that out in you, right? So
Yes.
so if you understand the better parts of who you are in these environments, you can create your ideal leadership identity. Okay. So
Okay.
we call this the leadership anti-model, leadership intelligence. Okay. And once you understand that, who you are at your best, your ideal leadership identity, now take the culture that you're in and match it. And of course, identify the culture that you want to develop, and then you match it.
So you're saying you build like a vision of yourself, how you would want to be as a leader,
No,
and
you don't
then
vision. There's not
no.
building a vision. You
Okay.
find this is already there.
It's
It's
already
already
there.
there.
Okay, nice. I like it.
You see, you just it's just not always on.
It's not. How do you turn it on then?
Well, yeah, but see, sometimes that's the thing. Identifying where you turn it on, and for example, maybe you maybe at the office you're always angry, but then suddenly you come home and you're with your kids and you're very patient and you're very flexible. Both are
Ah,
you,
yes.
right? But now you have to find the correct, so what is it that is basically helping you to be patient and flexible? Okay, that is a part of who you are. You don't have to change it.
Yes.
Already that. If you have to change something, it's not sustainable. But if you only have to
Ah.
embellish something that you already have, now you can create the ideal model of who you actually are at your best.
And it makes it easier to practice a little neuroplasticity if you take
Absolutely.
something from one part of your life and you take it to the other side, because it's just a little habit to extend it. It's not creating a new habit.
Exactly. So
Oh,
you're choosing
that's
the
a great
best
idea,
part.
Arthur. It is the best part. And since you mentioned that you work a lot with cultural change and you also guarantee it, I'm really curious, what would be some steps that a person could take to improve the culture in a company? Because
Okay.
sometimes it feels like you can take a sledgehammer to it and it will not crumble, not even a little.
All right. Let me give you a little bit of an idea of some of the research that we've done. All right.
Okay.
So first of all, there's this infographic. Actually, if you go to Google, and I don't remember the page, but if you go to Google and you type in um, uh, leading organizational culture change, okay,
Okay.
and in the somewhere top 1, 2, or 3, there's a link that says directivecommunication.com/something. Okay, so if you go to that, I mean, it's got all of the infographics and everything there. But let me give you a general idea. All right. So
Okay.
first of all, you have the what we call the 5 pillars of transformation. Pillar number 1 is you have to have a greater purpose. That means everybody more or less has to have a similar vision, purpose, goal, right?
Yes.
Okay, now, if you're thinking about that now, you're going, oh my gosh, that seems impossible. But wait, okay, I'll share with
Okay.
that.
I'm waiting.
Okay, okay. Now, second is that there must be a methodology to help that greater purpose be achieved. Okay. 3 is that there must be a language that supports the methodology. So, for example, dude, you're green-brained, or I remember I'm purple, or whatever. These kind of things, and adding all of the other language that we have created
Yes.
for all of these different methods that help people to communicate without conflict. Okay, so the language that supports the methodology. Number 4 is the unified identity. Either you're part of the club or you're not part of the club. Okay,
Okay.
so when we do these culture change programs, the company, the people in the company will choose their names, right? So it's like, the Knights of Transformation or the Revolutionary Patriots or, the Rainbow Pioneers.
Nice.
Yes, whatever, they pick up these names, right?
Corporate
And
pirates.
yeah. And so what happens is that that unified identity is very important because the people own the culture, not the company. And this is very important distinction. The people need to own the culture, okay, because they're the ones that are creating it. So this is a bottom-up initiative, not a top-down. Top-down does not work today in this day and age, okay? And the final one is a supportive environment. And what I mean by a supportive environment means like, dude, I really want to stop smoking. And then everybody in your team and around you basically helps you to stop smoking. They hold you accountable on a personal level for whatever it is, right? So it could be work related, it could be personal, it could be whatever you want, but it's about you becoming the person you want to become in that environment. Okay?
Yes.
So let me go back to the first one, the greater purpose.
Greater purpose.
Okay? Something that everybody needs to connect to. All right, so there is a question that we've asked in 58 different countries, okay? And
58.
this question is, what is the ideal working environment? What's the ideal working environment? So if you
So what is it?
You were working in an ideal working environment, what would it be? So different cultures, different age groups, different positions, different education. Do you think that it's going to be similar or different? The ideal working
Arthur, the way you phrase it, I think it's similar. Everybody wants the same stuff.
It is. It is.
Which is amazing.
Okay, and here's basically what people want. Okay, in general, okay, they want teamwork. Okay, that's usually the number one thing. They want something related to trust, whether they call it, I want to be allowed to be innovative. I want people to, understand, that I can do stuff, or, I wish people would just give me some autonomy, or the other side, which is I wish people could be accountable, okay, or, people should be accountable in this ideal working environment, etc. So that's something related to trust, okay?
Yes.
And something related to clarity. There should be some structure. We should have clear goals. We should have, transparency, whatever, okay? Something related to clarity, where you know where you are and you know where you need to go and what to do to get there.
Yes.
Okay? All right. Then number 4 was basically, creating an environment where it doesn't matter, an environment of cooperation. So you're in you're in the R&D department, but you need to, things aren't really happening with the finance department and you need to get something quick. So you can just go directly to the CFO and you can have a conversation and the CFO will actually try to help you.
Yes, that's the idea.
So this kind of thing, where again, that flexibility element is there for the organization, not just for the department or the job description. Okay? Finally, the last one, people want to have fun. They want to enjoy their work. They want to enjoy their job. So if you take those 5 things, that more or less comes up with the ideal working environment that most people come up with. So creating that ideal working environment is predictable. Yes. You know what it's going to be, and you know what people are going to want. So basically, you can go to senior management, and you can and you can tell them, okay, basically, this is what's going to happen in this. Now, the other part, of course, you got to do the discovery, because you got to know what the problems that people have in that organization are, and those are always different.
Yes.
Okay, but what's going to happen is that once you have the discovery, you know what all the problems are. Then you can go to senior management and you can say, this is what's going to happen. If you will, people want this environment, they're going to want to fix this problem, and we recommend that you suggest, that you do it this way with these resources. Do you agree? Okay. And it should be, here's the guidelines. So we're going to recommend guidelines, not a specific thing, but guidelines. And then senior management agrees. Okay. So now you go back to the people. Now, see, the senior management, all they have to do is agree to the predicted outcome.
And
Right?
they always want the benefits, yes.
And after that, they have to shut up and participate as regular people. Because
love it.
the rest of this is now taking what we call key influencers, right? So key influencers, they're people that are the informal leaders. I mean, in some cases, they're like a tea lady in this company in Singapore that was 68 years old, but she was a really good listener. She was the lowest paid person on the payroll, but she knew what was going on over here, and she kind of would give advice over here. I mean, this woman was like a super coach, because she knew everything that was going on, and she had major influence, but she knew more about what was going on in the company than the CEO did.
Exactly.
And then you got other people, for example, in one of the Petronas subsidiaries, there was this young lady, 25 years old, absolutely very smart and absolutely drop dead gorgeous. And basically, I mean, she was very classy, and she would just kind of simply and politely request any guy to do anything, and they would do it. I mean, she just had this like wow factor about her, right? So I mean, and you've got these people that don't appear that they have any power, and yet they have massive power.
Yes.
So these are influencers, and so then from the key influencers, their job is to create cells with everybody in the company. So they would have their own cells of maybe 10 to 20 people each. And then they will basically help these people to attain the ideal working environment through the methodology, in our case, directed communication psychology, using the directed communication psychology language through an identity that they have chosen for themselves. And basically, literally within 1 week, you start to see visible results in the organization.
Whoa. In 1 week.
Within 1 week, you can already start to see it. Within 2 weeks, people are like, wow, this is amazing. And then you have this show where basically they make their presentation. The people want these changes, and they make it, these presentations in a fun way to senior management with everybody in the room in this auditorium. And senior management simply goes up and says, wow, this work that you've done is amazing. And they sign, yes, we'll do it. And they can do that because they already pre-agreed to the outcome from the very beginning, and it was predictable.
And how do you ensure you have like follow through from management? They don't put like sticks in the wheels.
Okay, first of all, I mean, management has usually invested a lot of money.
Yes, so pay a lot, make them pay a lot.
Right.
Okay.
So first of all, I mean, there's a specific thing. So they can't, if they screw up their own culture, they've spent a lot of time, and they're not going to screw it up. Okay. Because so the management doesn't want to screw it up. But remember, management has to be a part of this whole thing, otherwise it doesn't work. And
so they're also in the groups discussing things.
And they are trained and facilitated by their subordinates. Every person, every manager is trained and facilitated by a subordinate.
So in a way, you shift the pyramid on its head.
Yes. Yeah.
Interesting.
And what happens though, see that the sustainability element comes because the people elect what we call commanders and generals. And those people are the ones that basically are the ones that do the follow through and also communicate between senior management for resources, which have been promised, and the people who have already volunteered to do various elements because they came up with it.
That sounds amazing. Whew, my mind is blown, Arthur. It is really blown.
So anyway, go to Google.
And fun.
Leading organizational culture change, and then look for the directed communication thing. That'll give you the whole thing and the infographics and everything. So just type
I'll find it and I'll put it in the show notes so people can find it more easily.
All right, sounds great.
Now I'm interested, like, for aspiring leaders, what are the top leadership tips you would have for them?
Wow, top leadership tips. Okay, first of all,
for aspiring
don't try to be
leaders.
somebody you're not.
Yes.
Number one, before you do anything, build trust. And you build trust by getting to know your people, getting to know who they are, getting to know their colored brain, or how their ambiguity relief process works, getting to know what are their primary motivators. Okay, here one thing for if you already have a team. Okay, this is a problem that a lot of leaders have. Okay,
Okay.
let's say for example, you think that being a good leader, you should be supportive. Okay, does that make sense?
Yeah. Yes, it makes total
Yeah.
sense.
Okay, but see, sometimes your idea of what supportive is may be misinterpreted by other people. So you think you're being supportive,
Ah.
other people may think you're micromanaging, for example,
Yes, I
right?
can see that. I can see that problem. Miscommunication there.
So there's a tool called the EDMA, or what we call the management mirror. Okay, and you can go to emotionaldrive.net, and there's this tool that identifies the perception gaps. It's a 360 tool. So you find out what you think of yourself. Yes, I'm supportive. Yes, I flexible. Yes, I'm this. I'm this. And then you find out what other people, okay, either superiors,
Believe.
peers, or subordinates think, and then you can see the perception gaps. And see, the thing is that when you see something that you're not, again, it's a lot easier to change something that you want to be and you think you are than it is to try to be something that you're not.
Yes.
So for
So
example,
true.
I think I'm supportive, and it turns out that everybody thinks that I'm totally unsupportive and a control freak. There's going to show a gap there. So I'll be able to literally understand, oh, okay, my desire is right, but my strategy is obviously wrong. So all I need to do is just change the strategy, keeping the same motivation.
Oh my God, Arthur. And it makes it so much easier to achieve. If you have already the desire to achieve that goal, you just need better tools to get there. And it makes
Basically.
so much sense. Yeah, that is really good. Um, and the third tip, what would it be?
The third tip is going to
Yes.
be, well, I mean, one of the things that people often forget to do is take care of themselves.
Yes.
Take care of your family. Don't just think about leader as at work. Think of leadership in your family and with your friends, and remember that fun is a part of life. And as long as we keep life fun, we maintain more potential to be creative and solve problems.
Yes. And also, if you as a leader have to be a role model for the people there, so they can see that you can have a work-life balance.
Yeah. Maybe it's just work-life fit, right? I mean,
Yes.
I involve my kids in my work, for example. But it's fun.
Awesome.
We have different kinds of things to build on.
And do your kids get to do trainings also?
Yeah, actually, my oldest son, who is now 12, when
12.
he's now 12, and he is since he was 10 years old, he's been introducing me at large conferences. So he goes up in front of 1,000 people and introduces me
Amazing.
in some cases. So it's really, again, building that element of fearlessness when it comes to
Yes.
speaking, and he stood in front of audiences as much as 1,400 people.
Wow. That is so amazing. And it's great that you can offer him that opportunity and he's taking it.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's hard because I have a daughter, she's 6, and she was like fearless when she was younger, and now she's becoming more shy and thinking
Yeah, it
like,
happens. I mean,
yes.
exposure. I mean, both my kids have written books also. Um,
No.
yeah. They wrote books, they published them. They designed them, they, laid them out. They did all the illustrations. They did the covers, everything. They talked to the printer. They got
Ah,
sponsors.
Sponsors also.
Yeah.
They're going to take over the world. That's what I can say. Amazing, Arthur. And since we're talking about books, what is the book that had the most profound impact on you?
Wow. I would have to say it would be Ken Blanchard's 1 Minute Manager. I mean, that's what kind of got me interested in this whole thing in the first place.
Okay, and what is the major thing that you got from it? Like the light bulb moment, what was it?
Simplicity.
Simplicity.
Simplicity, and yeah, I guess it was just easy, simple, and it made it fun.
Yeah, fun is really important.
Yeah, it's a classic book. I mean, it's been around for, I don't know, 20, 30 years. I mean, Ken Blanchard kind of, but that book was very impactful for me.
Amazing, and it's true. If you can have fun and make it simple your work, you're going to enjoy it more.
Yeah.
And Arthur, if people want to find out more about you, where should they go?
Well, probably, there's so many different places to go, but Carmazzi.net, CARMAZZI.net is my website, where all sorts of stuff. But we also develop trainers and consultants around the world. So we have another website called trainthetrainer.asia. And then our company where we're working with organizations is directivecommunication.com. And well, there's Colored Brain and cultureevolution.com and so many.
And I'll put links to all these resources because they have awesome tools that people can use. Especially, I really like the Colored Brain one.
Yeah, Colored Brain is very popular. It's used by a lot of multinational organizations, and they have their own internal system that we create for them, so that they get a lot of specific and personal data that they can apply to improving synergy in their teams.
Well, Arthur, my mind is blown. I have so much stuff here, and I want to go in depth in more pieces of our conversation, but due to the time constraint, I couldn't. So, if you're willing, we'll do a second show later on.
Absolutely. Hey, yeah, no problem. We're ready to do whatever you need. This coming week, we're doing the Reboot 2020 conference online.
Reboot 2020 conference online. Well, it will take a little until the show comes out, but if you put the videos, I'll also link to that one. It's been a pleasure having you on the show, Arthur.
Likewise.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Andrei. I appreciate that.
Okay, bye.
That was today's episode. Tune in daily. Rate, like, subscribe, and share, please. Oh, you can find further info and materials in the show notes on techyleadership.com, including links to the guest book recommendations.